Now it's time to start putting everything together. So I began by gluing the level 2 and 3 assembly to the base. And I first positioned it. I did a dry fit, put it in place, put all the buildings in place to see exactly where these two corners were going to end up. That's what I used as markers. I knew that this fit right into the back there, but I wanted to have something to help guide me when I went to stick it down. So I just marked two of the corners with some little flags, or you could use the corners of post-it notes or something like that to mark that. And then I glued this down with wet glue, and it is stuck down and ready now to attach the building bases. So I'm going to work one grouping at a time. Where buildings, it matters what's next to each other. So I'm going to start up here on the top with level 3, where we have 3 buildings. Buildings 1, and I'm putting a little base inside of it. He goes right here in this corner. And building 6 kind of sits catty corner here. And then building 9 goes in this other corner over here. And I'm not having them smack dab up against the wall, fairly close I would say. And so I've got them positioned. I'm just kind of moving around, checking, making sure the roof's clear so that when we go to pull any of these off, there'll be plenty of room to bring them off. And then using my little flags, I'm going to just work on one building base at a time. And if you don't have little flags, you could use a pencil to mark the corners or something. So I'm just going to carefully lift this box straight up, and now I can see where the base needs to be positioned. And I'm just going to use a flag to mark a corner because I can see that it's pretty much square to this line right here. So if I mark this corner, I'll know where it was. Now you might have seen that I just bumped building 6. That's okay. I'm only going to work on one at a time. So I'm going to just pick up the base, put some wet glue on the bottom, making sure I have my number facing towards where my front door is going to be. I'm going to stick that down, and it has a little wiggle room there, and so I'm just going to put my building back on top and see if I want to wiggle it into a little bit of a space, and that looks good right there. So I'm going to give it a little pressure. I probably have a little bit too much glue on there because it wanted to slide a little bit, but I think that's good. And now I'm just going to let that set up for a minute so that it's not going to be moving anywhere when I go to put on building 6. Now in the meantime, I could choose to, while this one's setting up, I could work on a grouping down here or start working on a grouping over here. But basically that's all it's going to be, is to position the buildings. Make sure that when you go to do the next one, that you have the building set on there, because it takes up much more vertical space than just the base does, because you have the roof overhangs and the buildings are bigger of course than the bases. And so then that will give us the opportunity, this is the whole point of this, is that there'll be a little treat in there, and you can pick up the building to get the treat as you count down to the 24th. So just proceed around, and I will come back when I've added a few buildings and see if there's anything more we want to look at. I have a couple more buildings put on, and I wanted to take a moment just to talk about the trees, both the little trees and the big tree. Now the big tree, I would suggest don't add it until the end so that you can see exactly where you want to place it. Now the little trees, in some places there's just enough room So you might want to position one in there just to make sure there's enough clearance. If it's going to be too tight, then you're going to have to forego a tree in that spot. But what I would do is and what I'm planning to do is glue all the buildings in first and then come back and add the trees permanently. But I will put them in temporarily just to see if I can adjust the spacing to make sure that they do fit, if at all possible. I finished attaching all of the building bases and the tree bases, and I just wanted to remove all of the buildings and trees so you could get an idea of what it looks like with those things installed. So it's all the little boxes and bases have been glued down. They're all in their permanent positions, and this is where building 24, which is the church, goes, and as you can see there's room to put a little LED tree light in there. And then each of these boxes or bases, before you put the buildings on, you can fill them with little treats. Here I just have some little Hershey's Kisses that can go in there. So you could fill it all up before December 1st and then put all of the appropriate buildings on to match the numbers and be all set to count down for Christmas. Just a few finishing touches and the project is complete. Here in the front I added a little wreath. It was part of the set that came with the large Christmas tree. I just added a little bow. I have it attached to the wall just by using one of the little mini screw eyes from Tim Holtz that I opened up to make a hook and just drilled a little hole in the wall with an awl and screwed that in there so it's just hooked onto the wall. Down here in the front I used from the main sheet in the paper line, I cut out the banner down at the bottom that says "Twas the night before Christmas" and put some decorative paper behind it, and then doubled up the holly leaves just to give it a little dimension. You'll see that better in the completed photographs. I don't know if you'll see the tea light is flickering in the church. Yeah, there you can see up here in the church the tea light is flickering there, so I've added that in. And I'll just say that the trees, I saw this technique online where first after you've sprayed them with the color that you wanted to, I used a couple of Adirondack sprays. They're the greens, I can't remember their names, and then I used some diamond glaze, or you could use glossy accents to just dab on and then dip in distressed glitter to add the snow effect to the trees. And that's all I did to the little trees. Let's see if you can see as we come around here. Yeah, you can just kind of see a glimpse on the big tree up here. There's some little red balls. I found some red beads in my stash and just added them here and there, but only on that large tree. And then as we're coming around here, I think you can see what I've done to the outside of this main wall here. I used a couple of the cut aparts and just backed them with some green cardstock. Just add some interest to those walls. And then on this last wall here, from one of the pages in the 8x8 pad, I fussy cut this image of Santa and then just double backed him with some red cardstock and some green cardstock. I could create these nice circles first by using a die that just had, I only partially cut it by positioning one of the acrylic boards so it would only partially cut. And then the green circle, I just used a circle cutter and cut partially around a circle so that I could get that nice clean circle up there at the top, and then just fussy cut the rest. Nothing new around the remainder of the building, and I'll have another video of the completed project to show you, but that is the finishing touches. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this project come together and are encouraged to try making one of your own. It will certainly be fun to have it as a centerpiece on my table, and to have guests enjoy opening up the little houses and having a treat when they visit for the holidays. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.